Growing up, I was late to everything. I was late to school. I was late to church on Sundays. I have memories of being late, leaving the house on a family vacation that was planned months in advance. And I even have memories of getting roasted at family gatherings because our family was the ones that always showed up late, every time. My parents, especially my mom, were the ones that set this example. They were great parents, don't get me wrong, but they just valued their sleep and they were very lax in their daily planning. They had and they still have this to-do list mentality, not really worrying about being prompt, but taking the approach that if they checked 3 out of the 5 boxes for that day, then they would just kick the other 2 to tomorrow. So it's no surprise that when I graduated high school and went to college, I too adopted this way of viewing time. That time is an ever-flowing river rather than a gridded map. I was in for an awakening my first Kaleo when I showed up, and the people that were in my D group, they were so type A. They loved to plan diligently and focus on details and show up early to events. And the more time that I spent with people like this in college, the more that I realized that I was the minority in the way that I viewed time. And just because I viewed the Kaleo schedule as more of a guideline rather than a must-do, it doesn't mean that other people viewed it the exact same way. There were several times in the last few years where I was not on time and I thought nothing of it, but it really disrespected the person that I was meeting with. Other people view time as valuable, and therefore being on time is a way of showing love and respect towards others. And that's the main point that I'm trying to make, is that you better be on time. Hey, there's no commandment in the Bible that says thou shalt not be late ever. So it's not as simple as one scripture reference to determine God's view on tardiness. Everyone has been late to something at some point, often due to unforeseen or unavoidable circumstances. But if someone is habitually late and unconcerned about being on time, especially if that person professes to be a Christian, then biblical principles, they do apply. As with all things, God looks at the heart, for the Lord does not see as man sees. For man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. Here's another main point. Being on time is not only a way to show love towards others, but being late is a sign of selfishness. Continual lateness does not express love for others. Forcing others to wait time after time is simply rude. And Christians are to love one another and love our enemies well, and love is not rude. When others perceive that we are unloving and unconcerned about them, our reputations as Christians suffer. A good name is better than precious ointment. A good name, a good reputation is very important for us as believers. This means that we should be known by people of our word, trustworthy, dependable, and not known as always being late, slothful, or unconcerned about others. Our actions as Christians point back to Christ. And do they glorify Him? And do they bring Him honor? And whatever you do, do it with all your might as for the Lord, not for men. Hey, some of you may have heard of this guy, Jocko Willink. He's a retired Navy SEAL and an American author. He's a total alpha male. Check out this clip from him real quick.
So, being late is unacceptable. Why? Why is it important? Some people never make the connection as to why being on time is important. So you got to explain to them why it's important. You got to explain to them that it's basic respect for other people's time, that it's basic operational readiness is to follow a timeline, that it's about being prepared, that it's about showing your reliability and your professionalism to other people that you're working with inside and outside of your company. And even Sun Tzu. And Sun Tzu said that he who is waiting on the battlefield is going to win. And he who is rushing late to the battlefield is going to lose. Well, that's the way your life is too. And if you're rushing and your things are disorganized and you're running late, it's horrible. But if you wake up early and you show up early and you're ready and you're prepared and you're waiting on the battlefield, you're going to win. That's all there is to it.
Hey, I love how Jocko compares the day to a battlefield. Guys, show up early and win. Waiting can not only be frustrating, but it causes unnecessary stress and wasted time for the person that has to wait. Christians are exhorted by Paul to do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but in humility consider others better than yourselves. The constantly late person does not consider others' time as more important than his own. And the person that is continually being late does not communicate a zeal or diligence in serving Christ and loving others as he has loved us. And it also doesn't communicate faithfulness or trustworthiness. But hey, let me tell you something. For the person that is habitually late, there is hope. For many, it is just simply overcoming bad habits that have been built up over time. But sometimes it's just a matter of changing those habits to be more aware of time, planning ahead, and then leaving a lot of ample time for the unexpected to happen. I love what Jocko says about leaving ample time in his schedule.
I was in the military for 20 years, and I was literally never late. I was literally never late one time.
Yeah.
Never late. Any time for anything. We would show up at work in the morning so early that even if a worst case scenario, I got T-boned on the way to work, I would still be able to get insurance, get everything covered, get a cab, and still show up and be an hour early.
You need to recognize the impact that you being late has on the people around you and understanding the importance of reversing the bad habit of tardiness. If we are motivated by love for others and have a desire to maintain a good reputation for Christ's sake, God has promised wisdom to all of those who have asked for it, and he is not far away from those who call upon his power for godly living. Being early is such a simple way of loving others and living above reproach. So show up early and win the battle.